All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Glad you could join us. I'm happy to say I won a bet on the William Hill app yesterday. I actually took the Chiefs. We all made a little bit of money yesterday, but that's not the case with everyone. I have a feeling that the books did quite well, or at least as hopefully as well as they expected. And joining us on the line right now, he is Nick Bogdanovich with William Hill. Joins us right now on the line. Nick, thanks for being with us. How are you?
I'm doing great, guys. How about you?
I'm doing good. I won yesterday, so I'm happy. We're all happy in the studio. We took the Chiefs. So let me ask you this. I'm assuming you could tell us now, what was the biggest bet you took, a couple of the biggest bets you took leading up to the game yesterday?
Yeah, no, the biggest bet came yesterday, and it was here, KC -1 for $525,000. So
wow.
One lucky better looked like he was dead, and then Mahomes in fourth quarter magic. That was a little $1 million swing for that gentleman.
That's unbelievable. Okay, so let me
swing.
ask you this, Nick. So I'm on your app while I'm watching the game, and by the way, you, in my opinion, William Hill has the best in-game wagering you can find. I really mean that. During the point where the Chiefs were down 10 points, I noticed on your app you had the Chiefs at plus 550. Did anybody take any action on that? Any big bets when the Chiefs were plus 550 down 10 in the fourth quarter?
A lot of bets, no huge bets, but a lot of bets, and it doesn't take many to add up when for every 100 you're giving away 550. So, and that's standard operating procedure with the in play. Anytime a really good team gets down, the audience will always take the big plus price that they can make a historic comeback. And lo and behold, he found Tyreek Hill and flipped the game around. So all those in-play bettors who had faith turned every dollar into 550.
Now, I would imagine you guys did okay, though. I know you don't speak for all the other books in town, but how did you guys fare? Did you guys have a decent handle, and how did you guys make out?
Yeah, good handle, good win. Under was the key. There was a lot of over parlays. The props were good, and there was a ton of San Francisco money lines. So even though we did take that big bet on Kansas City, and there was plenty of Kansas City money out there, when it was all said and done, the house did pretty well.
So let's talk about that total for a second. It was lingering around 53, 53 and a half, 54, depending on where you went. So I got to ask you this, Nick. There's 51 points up there. San Francisco has the ball, so obviously they're trying to score, whether it be a field goal or a touchdown. What were you thinking at that point? Because I actually thought the over was going to come in. There was still a minute 10 to go. San Francisco obviously is rushing down the field. It's going to be kind of a prevent defense, with the Chiefs. What's going through your mind then? Because that would have made a huge difference with, I would imagine, all the books in town, not just William Hill.
Yeah, no question about it. It was 31-20, and they had, I think, one timeout in about a minute 20. And listen, we've seen at that point you just don't want to get beat deep, so you can pick them right down the field, 10 yards here, 10 yards there. We've seen it 1,000 times. So everyone assumed that they would just go down, and they needed two scores. They might even kick the field goal first to make it 31-23, or try to get in the end zone right away. So. That was what everyone thought was going to happen, and that would have been a horrific beat if you had the under, because it was a dead under the entire way.
So, Nick, you mentioned it, of course. One of the unique aspects about the Super Bowl is, of course, not just the fact that there's props, but just the sheer amount of prop action that is going about. Were there any that specifically hit as far as, you're catching heavy action with respect to whether or not they actually came through or not in the football game?
Oh, there was a couple really big ones. We lost really big on will Patrick Mahomes have a rushing touchdown. That was a monster payout for the public. And the fullback for the 49ers, when he scored, a lot of people were screaming, Kyle Juszczyk, or I have a hard time with his name. Yeah, when he scored, that was a big one for the public as well.
I actually thought if on that drive in the last, when they were up 2010, if he caught a couple of catches to seal the game, that he would have won the MVP. So Patrick Mahomes won the MVP. I actually think that Damian Williams should have won the MVP. What would have happened if Damian Williams won the MVP as opposed to Patrick Mahomes?
It wouldn't have been as good, but it still would have been good. Both of those were good options. And it's funny when you said that it was 20-10 in the fourth, and we're sitting there trying to figure out, because we had a lot of money on the MVP vote, and we're trying to figure out who's going to win it for the Niners. I mean, Jimmy G was at the time was 18-21 for 190 yards, but it was sort of vanilla. And then we were thinking, well, Bosa's got a sack, and Gould's got 2 field goals, and Debo's got about 80 yards, and and your man Juszak, he caught the touchdown. And we were trying to figure out who was going to win the MVP on that side, and there was no clear-cut standout guy. But then it switched, and we didn't have to worry about it anymore. Because but you're right. Damon Williams, he's probably screaming, "Hey, what about me? Show me some love."
If you're just joining us, we're speaking with Nick Bogdanovich. Does a great job there for William Hill. Nick, are we going to see a time where it'll be regulated, where you'll actually be able to put prop bets on the color of Gatorade, on how many times Trump tweets, odds on whether Jay-Z will stand up with Beyonce during the national anthem, which they didn't, by the way? I mean, will we ever? That's another story. But will we ever see a time where you guys will actually be able to do those type of props and it'll be legal?
I think so. The prop we were just talking about, the MVP, for the longest time we were never allowed to do that. Now we are doing it. And in the state of Indiana, we have a book. They allowed us to do the Gatorade color this year.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think these things are coming, and it's just a little by little by little. I want to see elections. That's the one I want to see.
Yeah, me too.
Can you imagine what we would write right now on the presidential thing? So, yeah, I think it's just a little at a time, but I think we'll get there.
You mentioned elections. If you had to choose right now, where would Donald Trump be odds-wise in the election in 2020?
I think I saw it in faraway places, but it's right around. I think he's a small favorite to win it. So, I think he was a small favorite the last I looked, and that was about 2 weeks ago.
So speaking of futures, Nick, obviously like 5 seconds after this football game is over, everybody starts to think to the 2021 season, of course. And, and obviously both of these teams are going to be thought of as in the mix and be favorites to get back to the Super Bowl and win it. Your thoughts as to some of the other teams that you took a look at as far as the possibility of winning it all?
Yeah, no, we put it up about a week ago. The Chiefs, Niners, and Ravens are all the favorites to win it again, all about 7-8 to 1. And then you got your usual cast of characters right behind them, like Saints and Patriots, Packers. But where all the tickets go are the long shots, teams that you think can make a long run and turn 100 into 6,000 real quick. And who knows? I mean, the Browns, everyone was super excited for them this year, and they let people down. They may fly under the radar next year, and the Steelers might come back, and who knows? The Giants might make a run. They're in a weaker division, and they've got Saquon Barkley and a new coaching staff. So you just never know. If you get the right player, the right chemistry, and a few breaks, you can turn this thing pretty fast.
I like that subliminal message. It's all about the value. Where do you think that Tom Brady ends up? And do you think if he ends up as a Charger that they have a chance to make a run? Because I do.
All right. Well, two-part question there, Nick. Let me also ask you this, since he's mentioning Tom Brady. The Las Vegas Raiders are 30 to 1 to win the Super Bowl next year. If Tom Brady does become a Raider, how will that affect the odds? If you can answer that as well.
It's a tough one. Obviously, we're not getting Tom Brady in his prime. We'll be getting the 42-year-old version,
right? But
still a heck of a football player. And I think Oakland was closer than you thought. They were having a good year, and then a lot of injuries happened, and things fell apart. And they got a lot of picks, and they got some maneuverability. So I would love to see Brady end up here. Can you imagine the Raiders in year one here with Tom Brady?
Unbelievable.
That would be pandemonium.
It would be Golden Knights revisited. And why not? I mean, if he wants to leave, why not come here instead of sharing L.A. with the Rams? I don't. And Oakland's close. I think they got a lot of good pieces.
Did he buy anything around the Red Rock area, or is that just a false rumor?
That I don't know, but I do know that he put his house up for sale in New England. That doesn't mean he's going to leave. Let's face it, he's got the legacy of all legacies, and you'd want to go out with the same franchise. So I still find it hard to believe that he wouldn't re-sign with the Patriots, but you can't get inside these people's heads. You just never know. I mean, let's face it, LeBron has done the tour, so it can be vogue to not finish your career with just one team.
And I would agree with you. The only pushback I have is that he's from California. His wife is, she's a supermodel. The L.A. They're both kind of celebrities. That's why I think he would end up on the West Coast. But you're right. It makes sense to finish his career obviously out in New England.
San Diego obviously is a big option. They got a brand new fancy stadium. They got a really good team. They got a lot of pieces there. And LA is LA. I mean, so I mean, he couldn't go wrong with either one. I would like to see it shaken up. So I hope he does go to the Chargers or the Raiders. And the whole New England thing is they'll have to start. I don't say start over from scratch because Belichick may or may not be there too. But that would definitely shake things up. I'd like to see it.
You mentioned the Vegas Golden Knights, of course. As we expect, there's a lot of handle on this team, of course. And initially, when they rolled into the NHL, what do you expect here going down the stretch as far as how getting a ton of action with our NHL team here in town?
Well, we want them to play good and make the playoffs. Obviously, if they're playing good, the more people go to the window and the more they'll bet. Even though it creates more liability for us, that's okay. We just want them to be relevant. It's like that with any popular team. It's better when the Cowboys and the Raiders are relevant. It's better when the Lakers are relevant. So we want them to do good, and if we get hurt a little in the books, so be it. But we want them definitely to make a playoff run.
I think we're all in agreement there. Nick, you guys do a wonderful job there at William Hill. By far, it is my my favorite bookmaker in town. In fact, I was at Ellis Island yesterday using the William Hill kiosk you got there. I appreciate your time, Nick, as always. Thank you so much for coming on, and look forward to talking to you again soon, okay?
All right, guys, have a great week.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Nick.
There you go. That's Nick Bogdanovich, Director of Trading for William Hill, joining us on the line. It sounds to me like the books did just fine, but a lot of people had Chiefs action. Some big bets both ways. But all in all, it was a fantastic football game. That's exactly what you wanted. You wanted a lot of pressure in the fourth quarter. You don't want a blowout. That's exactly what this game was. It was exciting. It was fun. And if you wanted a training session on how to lip sync, then all you had to do was watch the halftime show between J-Lo and Shapiro. And if you want, I don't know. I guess I'm getting into the weeds here, but I guess if you want to see a couple of very attractive women shake their asses, I would just go to a strip club. I don't care about watching the halftime show.
Wow, that's a word.
That's just my opinion. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, a preview of the Iowa caucuses, ladies and gentlemen. Are you caucusing in Iowa? We're going to talk about that coming up next. You're listening to The Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KW.